Hi, Rob. Thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. I am well.
Good,
Thanks for
good.
the opportunity.
My pleasure. And I think it will be interesting if we could start by explaining to our listeners what you do.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Rob Wunderlich, and I provide tools and training for users of Qlik software. Qlik is provides analytics and data visualization tools for professionals around the world.
Uh, Why did you decide to work with us, Strumenta?
So when I created my latest product, QSDA Pro, I needed a first-class parser. I had experimented with Antler, trying to teach myself it a couple times. And in doing research, I ran across your Antler tutorial, which I was very impressed with the quality of it and the depth of understanding that it demonstrated. So I reached out to you, and it was a fit right away in terms of how you worked, your pricing model that fit with what I needed.
Good, good. And can you tell us a bit more about what we built together? Maybe a few more details about your product that
Sure. So my product is a QSDA Pro. It is a code profiler and code analysis tool
Mhm.
for ClickSense applications. So for applications that are written using the ClickSense software. And the value in my tool is this expert advice that's given to developers of Qlik apps about how to tune their apps, how to make them perform better, better resource utilization, best practice recommendations. So I can do that by looking at the code. But what my tool does is encapsulates my years of experience and the years of published experience from other developers and experts, and we want to do that at machine scale. So to do that, I needed an in-depth understanding of the code that's under there. I needed to be able to translate that into machine algorithms. And to enable that, of course, I needed to have a good parser. I needed to really be able to break down the language into its elements so I could map it to the knowledge and map it back to the recommendations. So what you did for me was create that excellent parser that allows me to focus on what my value is, which is my expertise and knowledge in best practices in the Qlik language. And you took care of that, what is for me a mechanical piece, but very important piece, which is being able to interpret that machine code to map it to my machine knowledge.
So if I understand well, you have built a tool that encapsulates your expertise and help other people working with this language be much more productive. So in a way, they can leverage your expertise in a very scalable way and have access to your expertise in a very convenient form, so that when you're not around, they can have some sort of version of you in your tool.
Correct. And if you or if anybody's familiar with something like code analyzers in Visual Studio, this is very analogous to that. I'm looking at the code, making recommendations, pointing out errors. So yeah, that's a very good overview.
Can you tell us why was this project important for you?
Yeah, so I've been working with the Qlik product for about 17, 18 years now as a
Okay.
consultant, providing training, developing applications, and installation for customers of the product. So I've developed this expertise over the years. I've also started a training conference. So I've become well
Oh,
known in this field. And this providing the tool, I had a sort of a free version of the tool that used string pattern matching, so used a kind of regular expression type analysis of the code. It was quite limiting. It provided a lot of value. So I had sort of a free version that I used in my or public version that I used in my practice and gave away. So this was just the next step of creating a fully supported commercial version and taking it to the next level of quality in terms of depth of parsing.
So I understand that you first built, let's say, a sort of MVP proving the value of the approach, and then with this project, we, let's say, improve it what you have already built in a way.
Yeah. Actually, the product itself sort of developed organically over about 10 years, the basis of the product. And just through my use in my own practice as a consultant. In the last couple of years, particularly when the pandemic hit, I already had one other product in the market, one commercial product. So here I was no longer traveling and consulting with clients. And I decided, well, I've always wanted to improve this tool, turn it into a supported commercial product, and generate enough revenue that would justify that becoming my full-time occupation. So now I'm only doing tool development and some training. So I'm no longer developing applications directly for customers. Indirectly, I'm seeing thousands of applications come through the tool. So I'm sort of a big-time lurker still. In terms of what people are coding, what kind of challenges are coming up, and helping them resolve those challenges.
Great. I find very fascinating both the domain in which you're working, but also as a small business owner myself, I think it's very interesting, your journey, and is an inspiration. Good. And were you satisfied with the results of our collaboration?
Yeah, I was extremely satisfied. I was very pleased, and I'm happy to say that and tell other folks about it. I did realize that it was useful to me, and a good strategy was to figure out, well, if I'm going to code this product, bring it up in terms of its quality and scale, what pieces would it make sense to farm out? And I had been looking at building my own parser for some time and realized this is definitely an area where expertise and experience is very valuable. So that was a piece that I was very interested in finding somebody else do, again, so I could focus on what my value was, which was the experience and expertise, and take on, frankly, some of the more, easier code. I was very impressed from the moment when we sat down and talked about scoping. You were communicated well, you understood my requirement, had good suggestions for a good path to proceed. You then proceeded to execute the schedule and on time and communicated very clearly. We agreed that I would provide a set of examples. So I created a set of about 100 examples initially as the specification for what the parser should do. And I did that based on, my knowledge of the language and what I wanted to do and what challenges I knew I wanted to be able to address. You delivered a full set of test cases against those challenges. And then as I began to test, we iterated. I would open an issue, you would fix it, generate a new test case. So it was very, very clean. It fit very well with how I was used to working with a group of programmers. So yeah, I was very pleased with the outcome.
Thank you. And well, thank you also for making our job easier by providing the examples very quickly, and also provide always very precise feedback so that we could improve things. Is there anything that you think we could have done differently or we could improve in the future?
I don't think so. Again, it just it worked extremely smoothly. I was very pleased with the outcome, and any follow-up communication we've had since then has been very clear. You also provided excellent documentation at the end of the project. And I've been able to maintain the parser myself for the most part, just based on that. So,
yeah, and I think this is important that I think when we have a collaboration on a tool that has strategic value, for the organization for which we are building, we managed to put them in the condition to take over if they chose to. So I'm happy to hear that, because it's I think it's important. And can you remember us? How did you find about us? Did you find out about us? Sorry.
Yeah, I was learning, trying to understand and learn Antler. And I was just a Google search, and I ran across your Antler tutorial written by your brother, and it was excellent. So that's how I stumbled across you and did a little more work and had that initial chat. I did want to point out one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
About the documentation and the handover. So of course, after the project was complete, as I started using my product in the wild and had all of a sudden more examples, I came across more requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And the Qlik language is evolving as well. The vendor adds to the domain language. So it's been important that you gave me such a good hand turnover, a good framework to work within, and documentation, because of course this was not a static parser when it was done. So being able to have clear code, good framework, build tools was excellent.
Good. Happy to hear that. Of course, we learn doing a lot of mistakes, so we sort of understood what is the framework that make a parser maintainable in the long run. And unfortunately, it took a while to understand that, but I'm glad that now it seems to work. And can you tell people how they can find out more about what you do?
Sure. So for my latest product, they can go to EasyQlik.com. That's EasyQlik.com. I'm involved in some other projects as well, but that's probably a good start for most people, specifically related to this project that I did with you.
Thank you. And finally, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I would again just like to thank you very much and say I was very pleased and impressed with the quality of the work you did for me. And it's been a key piece of my product. It's trying to find the right words. It's important. The value in my product is my expertise, but that can only be expressed in code, with code that is good enough to be able to map my knowledge into code. So I needed that tooling to do that, and you provided that for me as a key piece of the product. So thank you very much for helping me realize my vision and taking care of that.
Thank you also, because this resonates a lot with what we are trying to do. I mean, Strumenta means tools in Latin, exactly because we think when there is someone with very valuable knowledge, like you said, you spent 18 years building up this knowledge. If we can make some tool that act as a multiplier of this knowledge, we think we can, provide leverage to extract more value of that knowledge. And this is our mission. So I'm happy to see that we had the possibility of working on a project that was meaningful. So thank you very much, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Good. Have a good day. Bye.